Speaking of the midterm elections, I want you to notice something. The language being used by the top Republicans right now, including Speaker of the House MAGA Mike Johnson, is not the language of confidence. It is not the language of, we've got such a great record. All we need to do is tell voters what we've done and we will win. That is not the language. We are already hearing about elections being stolen. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because we are 6 years into Biden stole 2020 from us. We're still months from the midterms, months from the first early votes. Not a single general election ballot has been cast yet. We're still waiting on some primaries. And we already have Republican leadership laying the groundwork to question the legitimacy of the outcome if things don't go their way. If we win, it was fair. And if we lost, it was rigged. So take a look at this video of MAGA Mike Johnson, and then I want to give you some of my thoughts.
It's central. You know, we talk about preserving the republic. You got to have free and fair elections in order to do that. And we can't allow big blue states and crooked, Democrat governors to try to steal elections away from us. And this is a very important measure, a common sense one, again, that the American people believe in and encourage and support.
It's just common sense, Maria. That's just common sense. Now, why are they already going to this stuff? Because they're looking at the numbers the way we're looking at the numbers, and they are saying, oh, dear God, Trump is screwing us. You look at Trump's approval, it's record low, 30% approval in a recent right-leaning poll. You look at issue after issue, 27% approval on the economy. And so they start with, how does polling look for us? And it looks really bad. Number two, they go, okay, how have special and off-year elections gone for us after November of 2024, meaning the 2025 off-year elections and some of the ones in 2026? Historically, the president's party almost always has a difficult environment in the first midterm election or the midterm election of their term. And as they look at the special elections, that has been very rough. So now it's like, well, our polling is no good, and we've been getting crushed in all of the special and off-year elections. So what do you do if you're worried? Well, one option is you change course. You go, listen, we need a different message. We need policy. We need to deliver on some of our promises so that then we can just go to the American people and say, hey, here's what we've delivered on. Vote for us because we did what we promised. They're not doing that. So the other alternative is you start telling your supporters ahead of time, if we lose, it couldn't possibly be because voters rejected the agenda or because voters are displeased with what we've delivered or not delivered. If we lose, it must be because somebody cheated. Before the election even happens, start introducing the idea that the process is corrupt. And that way, if you lose, you've already given your supporters an explanation that doesn't require admitting that people turned against us because we didn't do any of the stuff we promised we were going to do. Hey, real quick, if you're watching on YouTube right now, would you mind hitting the subscribe button? As an independent show, metrics like subscriber count help us rank higher than the right-wing shows and higher than even corporate media channels and keep building this progressive independent ecosystem. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. Every single one counts. Back to the clip. And the kind of irony of this is that if Republicans were really convinced they were going to win in a landslide, like if they were actually of the belief that it's looking so good for us, why would you spend so much time talking about elections being stolen? If you're certain you're going to win, you would have a message that is about winning, not we might lose, but they would have cheated if that happens. That's the real remarkable thing about MAGA Mike Johnson's comments. It's defensive. You're preparing an excuse before the game has started. And that is because I believe Republicans understand something they don't want to say publicly. The political environment is really difficult for them right now. Trump promised lower prices. We have high prices. It's just the math of it. Inflation has been greater than zero. And if it's greater than zero, prices are going up, and they promised they would go down. Now, it also is the case that inflation has gone up to the highest level in more than 3 years, but they promised it would be lower prices. Inflation has to be negative to get you lower prices, and it's been positive. Trump promised very quick resolutions to international conflicts. The Ukraine-Russia war would be solved within a day of this, that, or the other thing. And of course, it's still going on. And he said he wasn't going to go to war, start new wars. He did. And so Republicans realize, although they're not willing to simply say it, we made all of these promises. None of them have materialized. Now, whether you agree with that assessment or not, Republicans have to run on what is available to them. And so that is why Mike Johnson is saying we got to be careful about blue city voter fraud. It doesn't prove anything about the election, but it tells us leadership knows they are about to get crushed. When you again start talking about stolen elections before there is even an election, it means you're at least contemplating the possibility that you're going to get crushed. Now, I think that if Republicans keep sounding like this months before voters go to the polls, it suggests that they are potentially willing to go even further to try to save the election. Now, by save, I mean cheat. And we know that they're trying to do it. How do we know? Because they're telling us. They want the Save America Act, which would make it harder to vote and put in place more restrictions. They want voter ID. And while the ID itself may be free, you can only get it if you go during normal business hours with underlying documents that are not free to try to get your voter ID. They are closing early polling places, trying to reduce mail-in ballots. It's the full list. We've been covering this list for years. Again, if you believe the will of the people going out and voting will deliver you a victory, this is not what you do. And in the middle of it, the cronyism, the nepotism, all of that is only getting worse. And boy, do I have a story for you on this one. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.